All right, so what to do about the holes? Hole, hole, hole. Now I've got another thing I'm going to do to cover these holes up, but in order to try to maintain some consistent thermal mass so there's not air pockets inside, which if they're sealed, I'm not sure is going to be a big deal, but I want to try to fill them if I can. Supposedly you can hook up a chain on one side, hook it on the tire, and then pull it through. We're going to find out. And you're supposed to wet it. I didn't bring soap water, but I brought a bucket of water, and you're supposed to wet the surfaces so that they'll slide easier. It's either going to pull my wall down, which hopefully I won't get to that point that it'll actually pull it down, or it's going to slip in. It may make it move some, so I'm still not sure. I mean, that's a lot of weight compacted together. These are each 2,000 pounds, so that's 8,000, that's 4 tons right there in between those, plus those that are sitting on top. So I'm going to do the lower ones first, see how they go. I'm probably going to tie these upper ones together with these semi-treads over here. I'll throw a semi-tread over the top and then screw them to each side just to help anchor those, and then I'll think about pulling them through these upper holes. But otherwise, I'm going to work on these lower holes and see how this goes. Okay. So it worked, but I think one of my hooks broke. I was using a, you can quite see them in there. I was using some hooks off some little ratchet straps because they're a little bit bigger and they're supposed to. So he said, don't use a hook that'll go and like a chain hook that'll bind itself and cut into that, and then you can hardly get it out. So he said use a big hook, so I got some ratchet strap hooks, and I think those bent is what happened. So my chain popped off, as you can see. It did get the tire in. Let's see if we can find the hook. Where's the hook? Right there. Oh yeah, it broke. It broke. Let's see if I can get it out. Oh, it didn't break, it just opened. Okay. So, okay, we know those won't work. There's another one somewhere in there. I'm not going to bother getting it out. But the tires inside, it did mostly fill the hole. It didn't seem to pull the wall out any. I was watching the wall real close, and I didn't see the wall move, so that's good. These are big tires. These are like, I don't know what they are, but they're off my daughter's pickup and off my truck, and these aren't like regular car tires, so I was worried they would be a little bit too big. 265, 75, 16s, so. And I brought a couple old dirt bike tires I'll probably squeeze into. But it's in, it's flush. I'm probably just going to leave it, honestly. I mean, it's not flush, but it's not sticking out. That's what I'm worried about. Okay, good. We've got a few more to do. Let's try a few more. I got to figure out the hook thing first, though. Okay, going to try the second tire. We have, so I built this. These were just some old tow hooks I had from, I don't know what, from some project from years ago, laying around. So I put a grade 8 bolt, grade 5 bolt through there and there, and I had to use a little quick link because I didn't have a long piece of chain. So I'm going to hook this around the tire like so. Sorry, gotta use my hand. Okay, and then we'll grab the chain from the tractor, pull it through. We'll hook it on this chain here. somewhere in the middle-ish. Not easy with one hand, but there it is. Okay, now let's wet it down and see if it goes through. Okay, well there it is. Let's look at the other side. There it is. I might pull it through a little bit farther, see if I can get the get some, or I can get on this chain right here, this because I'm not getting that out. Not easily. What was hurting me was this bolt, these threads were catching and wasn't allowing it to slip off. It was caught around the tire and that was catching like that. So I'm going to go shave these off, cut these off with a cutoff wheel and be back. We'll do it again. Because I have it sort of attached low on the back of the backhoe, so it ended up pulling the tire over here. I've got a hole right here. I'm going to go ahead and pull a motorcycle tire right here and get it pulled through. So the wind's died down just a little bit. I just want to show you my progress. We've got the ends on here. We've got the tires pulled through on all the lower holes. Now, I've forgotten about these very bottom holes here. These are kind of triangles. They're not really sideways squares. They're triangles, so I'll have to put like a dirt bike tire through those. And I think I have enough of those laying around for the bottoms, and that'll just help fill those holes. Also, I've started putting these semi-treads on right here. You can see there's a semi-tread, and I've laid them up over the gap and down the other side. You can see it sticking down the other side right there. I'm not super convinced that that's the best thing to do, because on the back it doesn't matter, but on the inside here, around the inside, I still got one more tire bell to put on right there. Obviously one's missing. There's the 3 on the end though. So over here, they just stick out so far. Let me not shine into the sun here. No. And so I just don't want that extra space. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut them off right here, right on this edge, this top edge right here. That way I'll still have a roughly, I mean, it's not flush, but nothing sticking out a lot. Now, as far as tying these together here on the bottom, I was able to just flip these around. It was a lot easier to screw them in this way rather than having, if you can imagine, this flipped over, trying to screw that into a tire that's going away with tread that's also going away or deflecting away. So it's filling the gap a little better like that. And I've got a screw I need to finish screwing in there. And it'll help solidify it as well. And this will mean less cob that I have to use to fill it. I'll still put chicken wire over this, and then we'll start putting layers of cob on it to solidify it. I might put a strip like this down around the bottom as well. I haven't decided about that yet. It's not hard to put up. I mean, it's heavy, but I don't know what they weigh, 50, 60, 70 pounds each. A new semi-tire is about 150 pounds. Obviously the sides are cut off the sidewalls, which aren't the heaviest part. The tread is, because it's full of steel, and these are kind of worn out treads. A lot of them are pretty worn out, so, but they're still dang heavy. So I'll go ahead and butt another one up here, go around here. Once I get the tires in all these holes right here, once I get tires pulled through all these holes right here, I'll go ahead and put another layer right there. And then I think the next step is going to be the bond beam. I did order some 1/4 inch galvanized cable to wrap around these, and I'll probably go ahead and put some posts in here that'll come up and tie these into that. And then I'll do the same thing with posts there on the end that'll tie these into that. Although if I pour a bond beam, I probably don't have to do that. So that may be an extra expense that I don't need to invest in right now. Wood bond beam versus concrete bond beam. The concrete bond beam is just going to be 100%. I mean, it's just going to be a lot better, because the concrete's going to fill in all these little divots and voids, and it's just going to super bond this top layer all together all the way around. And I can pour that continuous in a kind of a C shape, so it'll keep the walls from moving at all. So that's where I'm leaning right now. Concrete. If I make it out of wood, it's going to be expensive too, because a big piece of wood is going to be expensive. Concrete's going to be expensive because I'll have to use a concrete pump. Unless I bring a regular truck and we just put it in the loader, we have dump it in the loader, and then we just lift the loader up and pour it in the bond beam everywhere. And that might save me a concrete pump if we do that. So if the concrete pump's a whole lot more expensive, that is. I'll have to find out. Okay, that's going to be the expensive part, and also the glass on the front's going to be the expensive part. This is relatively inexpensive, and dang, this went up in just a few hours of work. And I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I literally am doing this by the seat of my pants because I don't have any experience doing it. And I really can't find any videos on people doing this, on stacking tire bales and how to solidify them and how to stabilize them. So hopefully this will help somebody if you're going to build with these. And you'll learn from my mistakes. That's the key. You'll learn from my mistakes, so yours will go better and faster. Okay, cool.